Good Wednesday morning. Thanks for joining us on Kare 11 News Now. I'm Audrey Russo. This morning, communities across the Twin Cities are picking up after severe weather overnight. Storms mostly clearing out after bringing heavy rain and whipping winds, knocking out power for thousands of people. We'll check in with the weather team in just a little bit for a full check of your forecast. Some people, though, are waking up to quite a mess. Megan McPherson joins us now with a closer look at some of the damage.
Yeah, not a great start at all for this woman here, the owner of this home, who we just spoke with a little bit ago. Take a look at this tree here in her front yard. You can tell just by the size of the base of the tree here and the roots how big this tree is, and it did fall onto her home, unfortunately. So we did confirm with the owner that that area right up there on the corner of the house where you can see that branch, that was her room. So the crash and the sound of this tree coming down this morning woke her up. She said it was very scary. She's doing okay. Her and her cat were able to make it out of the home. She's definitely a little bit shaken up by all of this. And now she's just waiting for cleanup crews to come out here, get this tree off of her home. She might be displaced for just a little bit this morning. But we are seeing scenes like this across the metro, as you've been talking about. But we do want to go back to that storm system that moved through here. I have a few videos to show you this morning. This one is from our That's So Minnesota Facebook page, where people can post photos and videos across the state. You can see that video was from St. Louis Park there, the lightning this morning. It was quite the show out there. This video also showing that rain and lightning is from Golden Valley in our parking lot there outside of our studios. And then also we saw this morning as well, this MnDOT camera in Sauk Center. You can see that lightning. It almost looks like flashes of a camera. It was so bright, quite the show out there just in a couple of hours that storm system moved through. And now, of course, the rain here is picking up a little bit again this morning as well. Definitely expect crews here in the Como neighborhood. That's where this home is. But across the Twin Cities, expect to see crews out this morning because there are still quite a few power outages across the state. I did just look before this hit. Currently on poweroutage.us, I am seeing around 50,000 customers across the state without power. Here in Hennepin County, just short of 3,000 customers. The county with the most outages is actually Ramsey County. They have around 26,000 customers without power this morning. So hopefully crews can get power restored for those folks soon, and definitely expect to see crews out across the Twin Cities this morning cleaning up some of the damage left behind from last night's storm. Back to you.
Megan, thank you. Right now, charges are pending for the man accused of shooting at Hennepin County deputies starting an 8-hour standoff in Minneapolis. The deputies say they were trying to serve an arrest warrant for Tyler O'Brien, who's now sitting in the Hennepin County jail. Things got frantic just before noon when the Hennepin County Sheriff says O'Brien shot at deputies trying to serve a felony firearms warrant. O'Brien also shot down a police drone. Officers were able to get a woman and child out of the apartment safely and the whole building evacuated. Law enforcement says they knew going in that this warrant and this suspect would require extreme caution.
We did have some indicators that it would be high risk because of his past, yes. There was enough there to make sure that we use caution when executing this search warrant.
Just get out the way. Just get out the way. Don't want to be nowhere around it.
Once we were able to make sure that that apartment building was clear, things can slow down. Once we knew that just the suspect was inside of there, time is on our side. So we used time to our advantage, and thankfully it did take several hours, but it came to a peaceful conclusion.
In the end, no one was hurt and O'Brien surrendered. Court records show O'Brien does have a prior firearms and drug conviction. A suspect is in custody this morning after a different standoff in Coon Rapids. Police say they responded to a call around 4 yesterday morning from a man saying he was stabbed. He went to the hospital and is expected to survive. Police tracked the suspect to a home off Crooked Lake Boulevard Northwest, but police say he refused to come out. They called in a SWAT team that arrested him after several hours. Police say the victim and suspect knew each other, but it's unclear what led up to the stabbing. New details this morning on the impact that Operation Metro Surge is having on the city of Minneapolis.
And this report documents some of the real hardships, the lost income, the food insecurity, and increased mental health needs. But it also documents something else. It documents the strength of a community and how that community stood up for its neighbors. Minneapolis is resilient, we're compassionate, we're tough, and we have consistently showed grit. And we're going to need to show that grit again, and collectively, between the city, the county, the state, and yes, the federal government, we're going to need to show that compassion in real dollars.
City leaders saying the operation cost the city, residents, and businesses nearly $700 million and impacted mental health and livelihood across the city. Today, a resolution honoring the lives of former House Speaker Melissa Hortman, her husband Mark, and their dog Gilbert will be introduced to the St. Paul City Council. It comes nearly 1 year after they were shot and killed at their home. The resolution would make June 14th Mark, Melissa, and Gilbert Hortman Day in St. Paul and honor their contributions they've made to their community. Developing in the Middle East, new attacks overnight between the U.S. and Iran. President Trump ordering the, quote, self-defense strikes in retaliation for Iran downing an American helicopter. Iran responding against U.S. forces in the Gulf. Alice Barr has the latest from Washington.
Hi there. A U.S. official tells NBC News no Americans were hurt in the Iranian strikes overnight that were mostly intercepted, and that the U.S. military struck about 20 targets in Iran, all of it raising serious questions about the tenuous and tested ceasefire and the push for a peace deal. New escalations in the Middle East, with Iran firing missiles at a U.S. base in Jordan overnight and launching drone attacks against American forces in Bahrain and Kuwait, according to Iranian state media. While Iran's Revolutionary Guard claimed attacks against 21 targets across the Gulf in response to American strikes around the Strait of Hormuz. Those strikes followed the downing of a U.S. Army Apache helicopter that President Trump and the military blamed on Iran.
The pilots are fine, yeah. And nobody injured.
While the pilots were safely rescued, the president posted that the U.S. must of necessity respond. House Speaker Mike Johnson explained how.
It's targeted strikes to the radar, missile, and command and control sites, and it is defensive in nature.
U.S. Central Command said overnight the mission was complete and called it a proportional response to unjustified Iranian aggression. And we're learning more about that U.S. helicopter that was patrolling to prevent Iranian attacks on commercial ships when a U.S. official tells NBC News it was hit by an Iranian drone and crashed into the Strait of Hormuz. In a first-of-its-kind rescue, an unmanned U.S. military boat like this one brought them to safety. On Capitol Hill, Democrats raising concerns about what they call a perpetual cycle of retaliation.
A retaliation is going to just set diplomacy back that much further.
Just before the new flare-up, President Trump said the U.S. and Iran were
in the final throes of what will be a very, very good deal.
Now, diplomacy facing another fierce test. Iran's foreign ministry spokesman said his country needs to assess the situation before moving ahead with peace talks. Iran is now accusing the U.S. of striking 2 water storage tanks, cutting off drinking water in one area. While a U.S. official tells NBC News Iran has been aggressively launching attack drones toward traffic in the Strait of Hormuz for days. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
Today, the man convicted in a high-profile triple murder in a Carver County farmhouse in 1995 will go before the Board of Pardons and Parole. But one victim's family is pleading with Governor Walz and the rest of the board to reject it. Adrian Riley was 19 years old and a drug dealer who now admits he was at the farmhouse but says he was setting up a drug deal and was not the shooter. Court records show police found the murder weapon when they arrested him in Minneapolis, and Riley's fingerprints were on it. A judge handed down 3 consecutive life sentences. The state's clemency commission is now recommending Riley's sentence be reduced. If that happens, he would be immediately eligible for parole. This morning, we know the 4 astronauts NASA is sending for the Artemis 3 mission.
We are certainly humbled as a crew to be able to be your crew that executes this Artemis 3 mission in space.
3 Americans, Andre Douglas, Randy Bresnik, and Frank Rubio. It also includes an Italian astronaut, Luca Parmitano. Now, the crew will pilot a test flight into low Earth orbit where they've tested a lunar lander. Now, the mission is expected to launch in late 2027. An update today. After months of negotiations, the University of Minnesota, M Physicians, and Fairview have reached an agreement on a new 10-year partnership. It includes a $1 billion commitment from Fairview to invest in medical facilities at the U of M Medical Center. It also allows medical school faculty, students, residents, and fellows to teach and conduct research at Fairview facilities. Now, the Board of Regents and both M Physicians and Fairview boards still need to approve the deal. Stick with us. More news and weather's coming up right after the break.